Good evening, friends. Welcome to Beyond the Pain live video. Good evening. Good evening. Hallelujah. Thank God for another opportunity to come together on this Tuesday evening. Welcome to Beyond the Pain live video. We come here every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. West African time and 9 p.m. Central European time. Thank God. Thank God for every opportunity that He gives us to come together and to share with one another. Good evening. And we're going to be continuing on the subject that we started at the beginning of this month, the power of pain. And it's just been very interesting, pondering on the power of pain. Last week, I shared with us that the choices we make when we are in pain can determine what outcome we get from it. And pain is so powerful that it can be both destructive and it can be transformative. But this evening, I want to talk about the transformative power in our pain, its power to transform, its ability to transform. And when our pain is also transformed, what it can produce. Let me share something that I read a while ago. I think it was a devotional that was written by a very popular man of God. His name just skipped me right now. It was called The Crushing, the benefits of the crushing, something around that. And what he was alluding to, yeah, Bishop T.D. Jakes, he was explaining to us what crushing process can produce. And he was actually helping us to see how we can see our pain as a process that has the capacity to produce something. And it was talking about the crushing of the olive kernel and how that intense process of crushing the kernel, when they harvest the olive and the seed is, crushed in order to produce olive oil. And it's interesting to know that there is hardly any oil that we have today that we use that does not have to go through a crushing process. The crushing, the squeezing to produce oil, whether it is coconut oil, olive oil, um, vegetable oils, even the oils that are used for our perfumes, the fragrant oil, the first product, the raw material, the seed, the flowers have first of all needs to be crushed and then squeezed and then strained so that we can have the pure oil that all of us will enjoy to use for different things, whether to produce fragrance or to use as vegetable oil or to use for other things, the healing products that we use, the body products that we use. The whole process, requires crushing, squeezing, straining, and these are all processes that demands effort and it demands energy, and it's a power that's exerted on this raw materials for them to be able to produce the products that we now use. And so when I talk about in, I wonder if the kernels, the seeds have mouth to speak, what they will consider that process to be like. It's something that I've wondered a lot in my own experience as well. That process when the crushing is taking place, when the squeezing is taking place, the straining is taking place, so that something that is pure, something that is usable, can be produced. And it has helped me to frame the way I look at painful experiences. I mean, the challenges, the adversities that we go through, we pain shows up in different spheres of our lives. And sometimes it's on a daily basis. But there is a transformative force that comes with pain that can change us to what or who we are meant to be. There is no way we can have virgin pure oil, fragrant oil, without the raw material going through all the process that I mentioned earlier. So there is a transformative force that comes with that application, that pain that is being applied on the raw material. It crushes it. There is a force with it. But that first, that effort that is exacted on the seed, on the petals, ends up turning that material to become what we will use today. And the same thing can happen to us. Our pain can exact such a transformative force on us and turn us, change us to who we're meant to be. And for me, practical example is what I'm doing today as a trauma transformational coach and all that I have gone through to get to this point. It would not have been in my radar at all if not for what I've had to experience. What I'm doing with the Feet of Grace Foundation today will not have been in my radar at all if I had not gone through the painful experiences that I've had to endure. And the painful experiences exacted a transformative force on me. It brought out of me latent skills that I was not even aware of. It inspired, it intensified my compassion for those who are going through adversity. It brought out of me talents that were there that would never have been exposed until the pressure of pain came upon me. My writing today, especially the creative writing that I do today, was birthed. It was squeezed out of me in the season of pain. I mean, it was in that season of adversity, in that season of pain, that I began to do creative writing. That I started writing novels, fictional novels. And I have mentioned before that I began several manuscripts of fictional, inspirational fictional novels in the time when I was stuck in my bedroom, that I couldn't leave my house, that I was unable to do the things that I loved doing, going to the places that I used to be able to go. It was in that season that I was literally grounded, like a, how would you put it? Like a plane in the hangar, a plane that is meant to fly, that was in the hangar. That was the way I was feeling in that season of my life. But it is in that season that I discovered my talent, my gifting for creative writing. And as I began to explore it, and I realized that, oh my goodness, this thing is there. So I went to take further courses to help me to enhance that talent, that skill. And today, when there is a dimension to my writing that was not there in those years, previous years before I went through this experience. And so that passion for writing, that passion for inspirational creative writing came from the place of pain. And that is an example of the transformational power that pain can, exert upon us to change us to become who we are meant to be. I am a trauma coach today. I'm a transformational coach today because of what I learned from my season of pain. And so, profound transformation can take place in us when we embrace our painful experiences. And when we're talking about pain, I focus my attention more on emotional pain, on psychological pain, on mental pain, the pain that comes from the things that happen in the core of a being, from that comes from experiences that makes us to hurt. It's not a physical pain right here that I'm describing, but a deep emotional pain. And when we sometimes it may be physical experience that takes us, to that place of emotional pain. Yes, but I'm focusing more of my attention on emotional pain and how a profound transformational change can happen in all of us when we embrace our painful experiences, when we reframe it and look at it as a process that can birth something new in us, that has the power to produce something, that is innate in us. It is there. It has the power to press it out. That crushing, that pressure of pain pushes out something that's latent in us, gifts, talents, skills. And I can share over and over again the many skills that I didn't know that I have, the talents and giftings that I didn't know that I have until I faced the pressure of pain, the crushing pressure of painful experiences. And see, the truth is that our painful experiences do not need to be monumental, does not need to be something, you know, life wrenching for it to be transformational. We have agreed, and for those of you who have been following me for any length of time, I have shared with us that pain is an inherent part of our lives on this side of the divide. For as long as we are here on earth, we're going to experience something that will shift us, that will hurt us. The Bible tells us that in this world we will have trials and tribulations. But we should be of good cheer because Jesus has overcome the world in this broken world that we live in this fallen world that we live in. Things are going to happen. And when things happen, what is a matter of when and not if, we know that we are prepared. We can be prepared to be able to handle it when we know that our pain can have a transformational force and impact on us. And like I said, that it doesn't need to be something monumental for it to be transformational. Every painful experience, everything that discomforts us can change us, and it can change us for better and it can change us for worse. The choice of who we become because of our painful experiences is simply ours. It is about the decision that we make in the midst of our pain, the choices that we make, the perspective we choose to have about our painful experiences will determine the direction that it can take us. Last week I mentioned that pain can be transformative and it can be destructive. But today I want to emphasize more on the transformational power, the transformational force that is in pain. This change that adversity, these challenging experiences bring on us can be navigated. It can be navigated with a framework, with a mindset that this can produce something good for me. It can teach me something. It can teach me how to resolve conflicts. It can help me in dealing with challenging situations down the line. If I learn from this particular experience, I can take something out of this particular painful experience that I'm going through, out of this adversity, out of this challenge that I may be going through, and use it in the future. That is the kind of mindset that I want, and I'm hoping and praying that those who are following me, who are listening to me, will develop, so that when things happen, we look at it with that lens. What is this going to deliver to me? I don't like this experience. I didn't expect it. I didn't call for it. I don't even want it. But now that I'm in it, and I know that God does not waste my pain, what can this experience deliver for me? Yeah, it is not pretty to go through situations that are painful, that hurts us, that grieves us. It is not. We all know that it is not pretty. It's not something that we want. It's not something that we go looking for. But I can always say that it's a matter of when, not if. But when it does happen, recognizing that it has a powerful force in it that has the capacity to deliver possibilities to us, endless possibilities, endless possibilities. I'm going to become a better version of me by the time I emerge on the other side of this pain. I am not going to be the same person who went into this situation by the time I emerge from it. And for me, that has been my own major lesson from my decades of dealing with pain, of dealing with hurts, and dealing with things that really grieved me. One thing that I know is that I'm going to be a better version of me when I take time to process the pain, when I take time to deal with it and then to heal from it. I'm going to become a better person. I'm going to learn something from that experience that will become useful to me. And as time goes on, my pain can never be in vain. That is one thing that I know, that I know, that I know, that not a single challenging situation, not a single painful experience that I have gone through, I can say from what I have experienced in the past and bring that to the present. Not a single painful experience that I have gone through has been in vain. There is no hardship, no adversity that I've had to go through that has not delivered something. New possibilities. New possibilities. In that moment, I may not see it, but now having experienced it several times, I can see that in the present and in the future, every transform me in with okay, praise God. Um, for those of us on Facebook and YouTube, please bear with me. I don't understand what is happening with Wi-Fi there. All right, let's go on, trusting God that it will remain stable. Pain is also a signal. It tells us it's a signal that's bringing a message about something going on in our bodies or in our mind. When you feel that pain, that deep pressure in the inside of you, that deep hurt, the inside of you, something has happened. It's a signal that something is going on. When you feel pain in your body, you know that something is happening to you, something is going on. And it tells us that there is a need for us to investigate and find out. I was sharing with a few friends last weekend that if we don't feel pain, we will destroy ourselves because we won't know when to stop. We'll get to the point where we're feeling headaches and shoulder aches and backaches. But when I've been, as if my eyes are aching, my head are aching, and it could be from my mind. So if when you're feeling hurt, when you're feeling grieved on the inside of you, when you're hurting in the deep part of your being, something has happened that needs to be investigated, that needs to be reviewed. And so what is good, what is gone wrong here? It means that something requires a resolution. Something needs to be dealt with. I mean, and it takes us acknowledging what happened for us to know how to deal with it. And I mentioned out there how I respond to that pain will determine what outcome that we get from it. And another part of transformative power of pain that I found very interesting is the new learning opportunities that it opens to us. Every painful and challenging experience that we go through is going to open to us new learning opportunities. There's something you're going to learn in that season. There's something you're going to learn from that situation if you're open minded, if you are reviewing your pain with that mindset, with that perspective. It opens new learning for us. It also enhances our comprehension of life. What is life all about? How do we transact in life? I mean, like I always tell people that I came to know God in a better way through the things that I have endured. I have come to, comprehend life in a different perspective. I have come to, you know, learn to align my perspective with God's perspectives on depending on what I'm going through. There is that way in which pain enhances our comprehension. It enhances our understanding. By the time you come through to the other side, there are things that you begin to appreciate differently. There are things that becomes more meaningful to you. There are shadow things that no longer matters to you because you know that life can be ephemeral and we walk on a very thin thread with life. And when you come out on the other side and you look back to what you have gone through, what you have endured, it gives you a better appreciation of life. And of course, anything that improves your understanding, that enhances your comprehension, is going to catalyze your personal growth. It's going to catalyze your growth as an individual. And this is some of the things that, the transformative, the aspects of the transformative power of pain. You will grow, you will mature, when you process that experience in a way that is healthy, when you embrace it and you shape it, you look at it with a perspective of what can you learn from it that can facilitate growth for you. Growth takes place. And I mean, I think it was last month we were talking about post traumatic growth. And that's what I'm alluding to. The growth that takes place beyond our painful experience, the growth that takes place while we are going through those painful experiences. There will always be a lesson to learn in every adverse situation. You will learn something if you pay attention. Pain is a teacher, it's a faithful teacher. It's going to teach us something. It's going to teach us something new about ourselves. We're going to become more self aware. You're going to learn things about you that you have never imagined that you're capable of. I mean, I've heard people say that I got to know myself and what I could become under the pressure of pain, what I could do. You see yourself reacting in a way, and you ask, did I just do that? And you learn about yourself. You learn about your strengths. You learn about your weaknesses. You learn about the things that you pay attention to that have not delivered any good to you, that you need to reorientate. There's so much that painful hardships of life can teach us. And it's all about how we frame it, what lenses we use to look at it. And if we begin to, you know, look at these experiences that causes pain, that causes grief and sorrow, in a way that this is a teacher, and it's a difficult teacher. It's a teacher that I don't particularly like, but this teacher can teach me something. And for those of us who have gone through school, we know that it's not all our teachers that we like. There are some teachers that we would rather do without. But at the end of the day, their mandate is to teach us something. And our responsibility is to learn from them, whether we like them or not. And so pain, whether we like it or not, can be a faithful teacher, can be a good teacher. It can teach us a lot about ourselves. It can teach us a lot about ourselves. Answer a lot of questions as well, in addition to it. And so that at the end of the day, one thing that we will all learn from the place of pain, especially for those of us who are Christians, is God's sustaining power. When I wrote my book, Grace in the Storms, A Living Proof, one of the things that you would think that you would see running through that book is God's sustaining power, God's sustaining grace that keeps us when we go through the storms of life. You and I will learn about that sustaining power of God. You and I will learn about that sustaining grace of God that we could not have learned anywhere else except we go through the storms of life. That is one thing that we will certainly learn from a place of pain. You see, our stories of pain and adversity and how we overcome becomes a testimony of God's faithfulness and power. Every time that I share my story of pain, of over 20 years of dealing with chronic afflictions, and all that transpired beyond that experience, one theme that runs through is God's faithfulness, God's sustaining power, God's grace. There is no way I would have emerged from the storm. There's no way I would have come out on the other side, save for the faithfulness of God, but for the grace of God, but for the mercy of God. And you see, when we process a pain and we begin to have this appreciation that it is God's power, God's grace that has kept us through it, it redefines our perspective to life. It reframes the way we see our challenging situations. It becomes an opportunity to get to know God and experience His power in a way that we will never have experienced it in a comfort zone, in a place where everything is all rosy and blooming. But when we go through the valley of the shadow of death, that is when we will know that we do not fear evil only because God is with us. And It is not that there is no evil to be feared there. It is because we experience His presence in the valley of the shadow of death. When we go into the cave of confinement, when we're confined and restrained by life's challenging situations, by the difficulties that we face through. That's the place that we hunger for the presence of God and for the manifestation of His power, for the manifestation of His faithfulness, of His grace. There's no way you're going to clamor for that if you're not in that place where life happens to you. And one thing we all know that I am 100% persuaded of is that God never wastes any of our painful experiences. He never wastes our pain. He does not waste our tears. The Bible records that even our tears are stored up in the bottle, and they are recorded. They are recorded in the book of remembrance. As I look through the Bible and I study the life of people, I mean, in the course that I curate, The Profit of Pain, one of the projects that the students who take part in this course have to do is to study the life of someone who endured great hardships, who endured adversity, who has gone through some challenges in life, and to see what they produced out of it, what came out of their experience. And for many that we studied, whose name we still remember till today, have produced something from their pain. They have experienced the transformative force of pain. And they have done things that show that they have been transformed. That change, the change that turned them to who they are meant to be came from that pain, that transformative force of pain. And there's so many like that we have studied. And I mean, I've been amazed about the different case studies that the students have brought forth and what they learned in the lives of these people. And so, your story of pain can serve a great purpose, and it can bring a beautiful future to you. For all of us who know God, our pain will never be in vain, and it will always serve a greater purpose. And the joy of it for me is that it will serve a purpose that is higher than us. It will serve a purpose that is beyond us. It will serve, it will touch lives beyond what we could ever fathom or imagine. But it first starts from the choices we make in the place of pain. Whether we're going to see it as a teacher, as having the ability to birth new possibilities in us, or we see it as something that, why me? It's going to destroy me. And we give it that power. We allow it to exercise its destructive power. Better or bitter, it is a choice that you and I must make. And of course, it means that you and I must never diminish the power of our stories. We must never diminish the power of our stories. When I come out here and share my personal stories of pain with you, I'm telling you that you're not alone in yours. I'm telling you that it is possible to go through pain, to go through challenging situations, and come out on the other side by the grace and mercy of God. I want to inspire you. I want to encourage you. I want you to know the possibilities that exist beyond your pain, so that you do not focus your attention on the impact of the pain on you, the pressure that the pain is exerting on you, but you're able to focus your attention on what that pressure is able to produce. Whether it's the crushing pressure of the pain, whether it's the squeezing pressure of the pain, whether it's the crushing pressure of the pain, whatever the force the pain is having on you, if we focus our attention on just that alone, it will be more painful. But when we begin to change our focus to what it can produce, what God can use it to produce, it takes the sting out of the pain, because it gives us something positive. It gives us new possibilities to focus our attention on. And that's the whole purpose of why we do this, to come here to inspire you, to encourage you that there is purpose beyond your pain, that your pain has the power to produce something significant, something meaningful, something beneficial, not only for you, but for as many people that God will bring into the sphere of influence. And that's why you and I cannot afford to diminish the power of our pain, the power of our stories. No matter how dark or disappointing our stories may be, no matter what kind of painful experience we've had to endure, our stories can bring a light of hope to others when we go through and we emerge. One encouragement that kept me in my own journey with pain was that I saw myself going through the dark tunnel. It was a very dark tunnel, but I was holding a candle of hope, a candle that was, a candle it was that provided light as I was walking through that tunnel. And what was being ministered into my heart is that I need to keep that candle burning, so that others who are going through their own dark tunnel can light the candle of hope from mine. And it meant that it was now a responsibility that, as no matter how fierce the storms in that tunnel was, I must guard hope. I must keep hope alive, not only for me, but much more because of others who will be inspired to keep hope alive in their own journey through the tunnel. My dear friends, your pain and its raw form, with its brutal force, will not benefit others if you do not allow the process to come to conclusion, so that it produces something. It transforms you into something. It changes you, shapes you to become who you are meant to be. It is like a sculptor who is creating an image from his mind, is creating a sculpture. It is like a painter who is creating something. That picture will emerge ultimately when we process the pain and we endure it and we come out on the other end of it. And that is when it begins to serve a purpose. It brings glory to God when the product emerges and it begins to touch other people's life for good. And ultimately, God gets all the glory. Today, I look at the number of amputees that the Feet of Grace Foundation, that was birthed out of my personal story, have touched, the number of lives that has been touched. And beyond the amputees, the many people that I will never be able to count their number on this side, Or guess we'll get to know it when we get to heaven, who has been inspired in their own journey of pain to hold on, to keep hope alive, because God gave me the grace to come out here and share my story. But cannot force me. I have to be willing to align with God. I have to be willing to walk with God, to get behind what God is doing, based on the understanding that He will not waste my pain. And as I align with God and, you know, conform to His will, He uses that story to bring hope to others, to touch the lives of others for good. And ultimately, He gets all the glory and He gets all the praise. Your pain, my dear friend, in its raw form, cannot serve any purpose. But in its processed form, when you have gone through the healing and you have experienced the transformation that can come to you, then it begins to benefit the lives of others and bring glory to God. And so it is important that we acknowledge whatever our own painful experience may be, what our stories may be, we acknowledge it, we acknowledge the pain, and we take a look at it and examine it. What is it teaching us? What can we learn from it? And how can we grow through what we have experienced? How are you transforming? Are you being transformed to a better version of you? Or you are becoming a different person, a hardened person, a bitter person because of what you have gone through? It calls for self examination, it calls for a reflection that you and I need to begin that healing journey. Whatever it is that's happened to you, you can heal. And when you acknowledge it, you start that process of healing. And that's why I'm here to support you. And there are many like me who can walk that journey of healing with you so that you can heal in the places where you have been wounded on the inside, in the places where you have been hurt, the experiences that have broken you. A coming together can take place. Your broken pieces can come together and be glued with the gold of grace so that you are even a more beautiful version of you beyond your pain. Thank you. God bless you. So, friends, you need to process your pain. You need to begin that healing journey. And then you can transform your pain to power. You can transform your pain to purpose. You can transform your pain to profit. And let me say this again for emphasis. Pain is an inherent part of our human experience. Not a single one of us is going to get a getaway card, a get out of jail card. We don't get a free pass from pain. Pain is an inherent part of a human experience. None of us is going to get a free pass from pain. However, the choices we make about how we respond to that pain determines the outcome. The thing is, you and I can choose to reframe our perception. We can embrace the pain and the lessons that it brings to us. And then it shifts our focus from that experience itself towards what it can bring. And that brings us joy when we know that our pain is not in vain, that our pain will not be wasted. Our pain can serve a good purpose. And when we experience that joy, that that connection, that coming together, that understanding, it takes us further in our transformation journey. My dear friends, I want us to remember that rather than see pain as an enemy, rather than see it as something that has come to destroy us, we can see our painful experiences as a guide, a teacher that is inviting us to new experiences, to discover a better version of ourselves, and to embrace the fullness of life that is possible beyond the pain. And I pray that for those of you who are listening to me tonight, that what you're hearing from me will inspire you to reflect on your experience, whether past or present, and ask yourself, what have you done with what happened to you? What have you done with it? How have you processed it? What has it delivered to you that is impacting other people's lives? Is there something that you need to take a closer look at that you have experienced? And actually ask yourself, have I actually processed this experience? And have I really healed from it, or did I just bury it? See, the pain that we bury never goes away. It doesn't. Any painful experience that we don't deal with, that we bury, is going to sit back into a future. It's going to define how we behave and interact with others. And so it is important for us to look at those experiences and process them and begin that journey of how we can transform the pain, transform that power of that pain, and use that power to produce something beautiful and meaningful, something that will impact other people's lives for good. And I hope that that is the message that you take away from today's conversation, and especially this month as we discuss the power of pain. May the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. And I pray that as you meditate on this that you have shared tonight, that we've shared together tonight, that the Holy Spirit himself will open your eyes that you may see differently, that you may begin to see your situation from a different perspective, the one that will honor and ultimately bring glory to God. Thank you for sharing this time with me. And by the grace of God, we'll be back next week, Tuesday, for Beyond the Pain Life video. And we'll continue our conversation on the transformative power of pain. Don't waste your pain, friends. Don't. Your pain will only be in vain if it does not serve as a gain for others. Let me say that to you again. Don't waste your pain. Your pain will only be in vain if it does not serve as a gain for others. And if you want to embark on that transformative journey and you're wondering how do you even begin, please feel free to reach out. Send me a DM, a private message, and we can explore what possibilities exist beyond your pain together. God bless you real good. Good night and bye for now.